We watched them grow up on our screens. We thought we knew them. We thought we knew the story. But for over 2 decades, there's been a secret hidden behind the laughter of the Bernie Mac show, a secret the industry kept buried. They were the faces of Black excellence. They were the icons of our generation. But behind the scenes, the reality was far more complicated, far darker, and far more human than any script could ever capture. What happens when the cameras stop rolling, the applause dies down, and the world moves on to the next big thing? Some found a new life in the shadows. Some fought battles you were never meant to see. And others, well, others were forced to pay a price that no amount of money could ever cover. In this deep dive, we're peeling back the layers. We're moving past the red carpets and the reruns to see the people who were left behind when the credits rolled. What really happened to the McCullough family? And why does their story feel like a warning for every star in Hollywood today? The truth is finally coming to light, and trust me, you have no idea how deep this goes. Black icons, stay tuned. The story behind the laughter starts now. 1. Bernie Mac, the shocking sarcoidosis secret that took him at just 50. We started with the king himself, the man whose booming laugh and fearless energy made the Bernie Mac show feel like family. But the first crack in that perfect picture began with Bernie Mac himself. Bernie Mac, the guy who looked you dead in the eye and said, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers." But what if I told you that behind that iconic grin, that larger-than-life personality, was a 25-year war raging inside his own body? A brutal, inflammatory disease eating away at his lungs, excruciating pain, shortness of breath that turned simple steps into battles. And still, he stood in front of the cameras, delivered the laughs, did his own stunts, and kept the worst of it hidden from the world. He was only 50 when it finally caught up with him. This is the untold story of Bernie Mac, the man who hid his pain behind the smile, and the shocking price he paid for loving the work more than he loved his own body. Bernard Jeffrey McCullough was born on October 5, 1957, in the tough, gang-ridden Englewood neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. Raised by his single mother Mary and his grandparents in a crowded house full of family, noise, and struggle. From the time he was 4 years old, Bernie discovered the power of laughter. He watched Bill Cosby on TV once turn his mother's sadness into joy, and something clicked. He wanted to be the one who made people forget their pain, even if just for a few minutes. But pain found him early and never really left. During his sophomore year of high school, around 1973 when he was just 15 or 16, his mother died of cancer. The details were kept from him at first. Shortly after, his older brother died, then his estranged father. 3 crushing losses in rapid succession for a teenager already navigating the rough streets of Chicago's South Side. Bernie later moved briefly to Tampa for school, but returned and graduated from Chicago Vocational High School in 1975. He turned that grief into fuel. He started performing impressions at church, his grandfather was a deacon, and cracking jokes in the neighborhood and at school. By 1977, at just 19 years old, he was already a professional comedian, performing at Chicago's Cotton Club on weekends while working brutal day jobs. Janitor, bus driver, furniture mover, cook, even Wonder Bread delivery to support his family. On September 17, 1977, he married his high school sweetheart, Rhonda Gore. Their daughter Janice was born in 1978. Young parents, grinding hard, chasing a dream that felt impossibly far away. The breakthrough came at age 32. He won the Miller Lite Comedy Search around 1989 to 1990, and doors started opening. Then, in 1992, on the 3rd episode of HBO's Def Comedy Jam, everything changed. The crowd was rowdy, hostile, ready to tear the next act apart. Bernie Mac walked out, looked them dead in the eyes, and delivered the line that became his battle cry. "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I didn't come here for no foolishness." The room went silent, then exploded. That moment launched him. By the late 90s, he was touring with the original Kings of Comedy alongside Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hewley. Spike Lee captured it in the 2000 film that became a cultural phenomenon. Then came The Bernie Mac Show, 2001 to 2006, 2 Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor, Blockbuster films: Friday, 1995, the Ocean's trilogy, Bad Santa Say, Mr. 3000, Guess Who? He was everywhere, the funny Uncle America adopted. But here's the part almost nobody knew. In 1983, at just 25 or 26 years old, Bernie Mac was diagnosed with sarcoidosis, a mysterious inflammatory disease that causes granulomas to form in organs, most dangerously in the lungs. It weakened his lungs permanently. For the next 25 years, he lived with shortness of breath, fatigue, joint pain, and the constant threat of flare-ups that felt like his chest was on fire. He managed it the only way he knew how, with iron will. Careful diet, fanatical about exercise and strength training, worked closely with doctors, tried new treatments as they came. He lived one day at a time and refused to let the disease steal his dreams or his belief in himself. His motto wasn't just comedy shtick. "I ain't scared of you," became his war cry against the illness too. But the disease never went away, it just waited. In the later years, especially during the final seasons of the Bernie Mac show, the toll became visible to those closest to him. Co-stars later revealed he was on supplemental oxygen during filming. An oxygen tank sat right there on set. He was exhausted. Sometimes he had to lie down between takes, but he hid the worst of it from the crew. "I'm not going to be the reason nobody has no job," he told people close to him. He kept performing, kept delivering, kept making people laugh, even as his lungs screamed in protest. Powerful medications helped control the inflammation, but they also suppressed his immune system. He pushed through the horrific pain because the work, the fans, the legacy, they mattered more than his own body in those moments. He publicly revealed his battle in 2005. In 2007, he and Rhonda launched the Bernie Mac Foundation to raise awareness, fund research, and give sarcoidosis patients a community. He wanted to turn his private war into something that could help others, especially in the Black community, where the disease hits disproportionately hard and often goes undiagnosed. Even in March 2007, on Late Show with David Letterman, he announced plans to slow down and enjoy life more. He admitted he had missed too much, 47 weeks a year on the road in his early years, grinding non-stop. But the calls kept coming, and Bernie Mac kept showing up. Then came July 19, 2008. Bernie was admitted to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago with pneumonia. His immune system, already compromised by decades of sarcoidosis and its treatments, couldn't fight the infection the way a healthy body would. He spent 3 weeks in the ICU. His wife Rhonda, married over 30 years by then, daughter Janice, and young granddaughter Jasmine were there. Even in the hospital, Bernie was still Bernie, cracking jokes, rolling his eyes at the seriousness, telling his family, "I'm dead. Headline tomorrow gonna say Bernie Mac died, Mom gonna move another man in the house and spend all my money." He was a terrible patient in the best way. But on August 9, 2008, at approximately 2 a.m., the 50-year-old legend went into cardiac arrest. Complications from pneumonia took him. The man who had fought sarcoidosis for 25 years, who had hidden the pain, pushed through the exhaustion, and made the world laugh, was gone. Some reports emphasized it was pneumonia, not sarcoidosis directly. But the truth is inseparable. The disease he battled in silence for a quarter century had weakened him, and the very treatments that kept him going ultimately left him vulnerable. Bernie Mac's story is a gut punch because it's so human. The ultimate showman who turned childhood trauma and adult illness into comedy gold. The man who refused to let sarcoidosis define or stop him until it finally did. He lived a rich life, raised a daughter, became a doting grandfather, stayed loyal to Chicago, spoke at high schools, and used his platform to fight for others through his foundation. But the shocking truth remains. For 25 years, he endured horrific lung inflammation and pain, relying on medication and sheer willpower to stand in front of cameras and give the world joy. He was so dedicated to the work that he kept grinding even when his body was breaking down. And in the end, that dedication, combined with a disease that gave no quarter, cost him his life at just 50. 2. Jeremy Suarez, When Talent Becomes Scrap. Imagine a bright-eyed kid lighting up your television screen every week, delivering sharp one-liners and stealing hearts as the mischievous nephew on a groundbreaking sitcom. Jeremy Suarez was that kid. full of raw talent, nominated for an Annie Award before he could even drive. Fans adored him. Hollywood courted him. Then puberty hit, the cameras stopped rolling as often, and the dream quietly crumbled. Today, the boy who once voiced a Disney bear cub now works with his hands in the heat and grit of industrial America. This is his story. The brutal, human truth behind the child star myth that Hollywood loves to sell but rarely delivers. Born on July 6, 1990 in Chicago, Jeremy grew up in the same city that shaped Bernie Mac. By age 11 in 2001, he landed the role of Jordan Tompkins on The Bernie Mac Show. For 5 full seasons through 2006, he shared the screen with legends, trading barbs and building a fan base that still quotes his lines today. The set buzzed with laughter, bright lights, and the kind of energy only a hit sitcom can create. Long hours, but every take felt like magic. Then came 2003. At just 13, Jeremy stepped into the recording booth for Disney's Brother Bear, bringing the playful bear cub Coda to life with a voice full of wonder and mischief. The performance earned him a prestigious Annie Award nomination for Outstanding Voice Acting. Other nods followed: NAACP Image Awards, Young Artist Awards. He wasn't just working, he was rising. The final episode of The Bernie Mac Show aired in April 2006. Jeremy was 15, turning 16. On paper, it should have been the launchpad to bigger things. In reality, the phone grew quieter. As he aged through his mid-teens, looking every bit the typical high school kid, opportunities dried up. Hollywood producers often preferred casting 19-year-olds who could play younger roles without triggering strict child labor laws. Shorter workdays, mandatory on-set teachers, higher costs. Jeremy later explained it plainly. The system favored adults who could grind longer hours without the restrictions. For the first time in his young life, gaps appeared between jobs. He had never gone 6 months without steady work. Doubt crept in. Was it him? Had the sparkle faded? Instead of chasing auditions that never came, Jeremy chose something radical: normal life. He stepped away from the spotlight to experience the world beyond sound stages for the first time. The transition was jarring. He took retail shifts where fluorescent lights replaced studio glow. He worked as a line cook at a barbecue joint. One chaotic Valentine's Day, he sliced through what felt like 100 heads of lettuce on the salad station before muttering, "All right, I'm done." He joined his stepfather on construction sites, learning the weight of real labor. Then came the Boilermaker apprentice days. Picture the scene: a massive industrial power plant site under construction. The air shimmers with heat rising from enormous boilers and furnace-like structures. Metal clangs echo like thunder. Jeremy, safety gear strapped on, muscles straining under the weight of heavy tools, works alongside veteran tradesmen. Sweat pours down his face as he helps weld, lift, and assemble components in the searing environment. The roar of machinery drowns out any lingering memories of studio applause. His once soft hands, famous for gesturing through comedic bits, now grip wrenches and bear the scars of honest grind. It was heavy work, he later reflected with a proud grin. But it kind of put some hair on my chest, man. I may be an actor with soft hands, but damn it, I'm gonna use them to lift stuff. Fast forward to a typical day in his current chapter. The sun beats down on an active industrial site. Dust and heat haze dance in the air. Jeremy, now in his mid-30s, moves with practiced efficiency near a towering furnace unit. The glow of high heat reflects off his helmet as he assists with repairs or installation, muscles burning, focus sharp, the physical demands leaving no room for daydreams. During a short water break, he leans against a steel beam, wiping grime from his brow. His phone buzzes, maybe a text from his wife Maria, his longtime partner, or a quick glance at old clips of the Bernie Mac Show that fans still share online. In that quiet second, the contrast crashes in. The warm, air-conditioned set where Bernie Mac would improvise and the whole crew would erupt in laughter, versus this raw, unrelenting world of sweat, safety protocols, and tangible results you can see and touch. No famed cameras follow him here. No scripts dictate his next line. Just the job, the paycheck, and the quiet satisfaction of building something real with his own 2 hands. Jeremy's journey exposes the cruel underbelly of child stardom. Hollywood chews up young talent, spits out the ones who age out of the cute phase, and moves on to the next fresh face. The myth that child stars stay rich forever shatters against stories like his. financial ups and downs, identity shifts, and the long road back to normalcy. Yet Jeremy didn't crumble. He adapted, married, stayed connected to former castmates like Camille Winbush and D. Davis, and spoke openly about the experience without bitterness. His story ties straight back to Bernie Mac's legacy. The same show that launched him also taught resilience through laughter in tough times. From Jordan's quick wit on screen to Jeremy's steady hands on the furnace floor, the kid grew into a man who proved talent doesn't disappear, it just finds new forms. In the end, Jeremy Suarez reminds us that the brightest lights can dim, but real strength is forged in the heat. Not every child star gets a fairy tale ending. Some get calluses instead, and sometimes that's the more honest victory. 3. Kellita Smith, Wanda. The Price of Pride. Picture the glow of studio lights bathing a flawless set in 2001. Kellita Smith, radiant and commanding, strides in as Wanda McCullough, the fierce, stylish heartbeat of the Bernie Mac show. Every line she delivered crackled with power. Every glance at Bernie Mac sparked chemistry that felt dangerously real. For 5 explosive seasons until 2006, Wanda wasn't just a wife on screen. She was the unbreakable backbone of a black family millions fell in love with. Kellita had arrived, model-turned-actress, owning every frame with unapologetic presence. But off-camera, the industry whispered different rules. Kellita refused to play them. She spoke boldly about black ownership, demanded respect, and pushed back against the silent demands to be pliable, to smile through discomfort, to shrink her voice for easier access to roles. Pride became her weapon and her curse. Major projects that should have followed Z Nation, where she dominated as Lieutenant Roberta Warren from 2014 to 2018, quietly slipped away. Doors that once flew open now closed with polite excuses. The momentum that defined her Wanda era slowed to a painful crawl. The silence was devastating. In the quiet of her home, scripts gathering dust under dim lamplight, Kellita felt the full weight. Hollywood had vat-key at her fire and labeled it difficult. Depression hit like a slow, suffocating fog. Nights filled with doubt, exhaustion from fighting invisible barriers, and the crushing realization that her refusal to be Nguyen had stalled the career she built with blood and backbone. Before stardom, she had been fired from multiple 9-to-5 office jobs, learning early that stability often demanded compromise she wouldn't give. The Hollywood version cut deeper. Constant scrutiny, the pressure of maintaining a flawless image while opportunities vanished, the loneliness of being strong for everyone else. Fear and excitement blurred into the same exhausting rush. She battled those dark periods with raw honesty, turning pain into fuel for stand-up and advocacy. Contrast that with her peak, bright lights, roaring audiences, Bernie Mac's encouragement to pursue comedy still echoing. Now, imagine quieter evenings, Kellita reviewing old episodes alone, the laughter from the set feeling distant against the weight of industry silence. She channeled it outward, advocating fiercely for black creatives and reminding herself that true character emerges through discipline and discomfort. Her pride cost her big projects, but it preserved something priceless, her integrity and voice. Kellita Smith's story is the brutal price of refusing to bow. Wanda taught us strength. In real life, Kellita lived it, scars visible only to those paying attention. She survived the industry's quiet punishment and emerged a warrior who chose self-respect over easy applause. In a town that discards the unwilling, her journey reminds us some fires refuse to be dimmed, no matter the cost. 4. Camille Winbush, The Entrepreneur's Battle. The cameras loved her fire. In 2001, young Camille Winbush burst onto the Bernie Mac show as Vanessa Tompkins, the sharp, responsible oldest niece navigating chaos with wit and heart. From age 12 through 2006, she grew up on screen, delivering lines that resonated with every big sister watching. The spotlight felt endless, residuals flowed, the future shimmered with promise. Then, reality crashed in. Child stardom is a gamble, as Camille later called it. Checks from a teenage role shrank year after year. Those Bernie Mac checks dried up, critics sneered. She fired back. From a job when I was 12? Yeah, duh. Acting offered no guarantees. To survive, she worked regular jobs and poured her soul into something personal, Baked Ice, the ice cream shop she opened in Pasadena around 2003. Weekends meant rushing from set to the shop, scooping vibrant flavors, baking fresh cookies, building a business that tasted like freedom and ownership. Baked Ice wasn't just revenue, it was identity. A teenage dream turned real, proof she could create beyond Hollywood's script. The pandemic of 2020 destroyed it. Lockdowns emptied streets, costs skyrocketed, customers vanished, Baked Ice collapsed. Camille lost more than money, she lost a core piece of herself. The shop that symbolized independence, creativity, and control slipped away, leaving financial ruin and a deep identity crisis. Who was she without the dream she nurtured through fame's highs and acting's uncertainty? Rebuilding demanded everything. Picture the contrast. Once, bright studio lights and laughter tracks. Now, late nights in a modest creative space, fabric swatches and fashion sketches covering every surface. Camille poured herself into independent clothing brands, designing, modeling, packaging orders by hand under a single lamp. No entourage, no safety net. Just determination and the quiet grind of shipping pieces that carried her vision. She faced backlash for practical choices like OnlyFans to secure a home and stability. "If I can make enough from my living room, why wouldn't I?" she asked defiantly. Critics called it desperate. She saw survival. The emotional toll ran deep. Nights after the shop's failure brought waves of grief, mourning not just dollars, but the version of herself tied to that entrepreneurial joy. Hollywood had never fully protected her. Residuals faded, opportunity slowed, and she was left to fight alone. Yet Camille refused to stay broken. She worked 9-to-5 gigs, stayed connected to her Bernie Mac family, and rebuilt step by step, turning loss into new brands that reflected her resilience. Vanessa taught strength on screen. In real life, Camille embodied the female entrepreneur's war. The sweet success of Baked Ice, crushed by a global storm, the painful rebirth through fashion lines, the unapologetic hustle for independence. Her story shatters the myth of lasting child star security. It reveals a woman who lost money, identity, and illusions, then forged something stronger on her own terms. Hollywood may forget, but survivors like Camille keep creating anyway. 5. Naya Rivera, Donna, the final chapter at Lake Piru. She lit up screens with effortless charisma. Naya Rivera brought charm and depth to roles that made her a star, including guest or connected appearances that tied into broader Black entertainment circles fans remember. But her brightest light hid the heaviest shadows. By 2020, the woman millions admired was drowning in silence long before the water claimed her. Naya's public image sparkled: talent, beauty, success. Behind it, depression and exhaustion clawed deep. Debt piled up from an industry that pays unevenly and discards quickly. The pressure of maintaining perfection while battling inner demons grew unbearable. Her autobiography, Sorry Not Sorry, laid bare the loneliness, the isolation of fame, the weight of expectations, the quiet nights where success felt hollow and past traumas resurfaced. Then came July 8, 2020, at Lake Piru in California. What looked like a tragic boating accident with her young son was, in the eyes of those closest to her pain, something heavier. A final, desperate act of a woman seeking release. She saved her son, ensuring he reached safety before the water took her. It was the ultimate sacrifice from someone quiet by mental health struggles, financial strain, and an industry that demands everything while offering little protection. Contrast the glory days, red carpets, flashing cameras, the rush of performing for adoring fans. Then, the private reality. Late nights staring at bills, the exhaustion of performing strength when inside she felt shattered, the solitude. Sorry, Not Sorry, described so painfully. Naya wrote openly about the isolation fame brings, the battles with self-worth, and the toll of a career that consumes more than it gives. Depression wasn't a footnote, it was the undercurrent pulling her under, even as she smiled for the world. Her final moments at the lake remain haunting. A mother's love in action, getting her son to shore, while her own strength finally gave out. The discovery of her body days later sent shockwaves. Fans mourned the star. Those who read her words understood a deeper tragedy, a woman who fought silently until she couldn't. Naya Rivera's story is a devastating full stop. Not just a drowning, but the heartbreaking end of someone drained by debt, depression, and an unforgiving spotlight. Hollywood produces legends, then leaves them to battle alone. Her sacrifice at Lake Piru, saving her child while losing herself, stands as the ultimate act of love from a woman the industry failed to protect. In Sorry Not Sorry, she left the truth. Reading it now feels like hearing her final, honest plea. We see the stars shining on screen. They live the bills, the scars, the silence that follows when the applause stops. When one episode ends, we turn off the TV and sleep. They face the debts, the depression, the industry that chews talent up and spits out the unwilling. They weren't just characters. They were warriors carrying invisible wounds. If you believe Bernie Mac and his cast deserve to be remembered as real people, with pride that cost everything, businesses that crumbled, battles with darkness, and endings that still hurt, drop a comment below. Share their real stories. Subscribe to Black Legend Files. We're here to tell the truths Hollywood once buried.